Now I'm going to run just a little piece of Joe Biden talking about what you're talking about from that appearance on Stephen Colbert, talking about his thoughts about running for president.
I don't think any man or woman should run for president unless, number one, they know exactly why they would want to be president, and two, they can look at the folks out there and say, I promise you, you have my whole heart, my whole soul, my energy, and my passion to do this. And I'd be lying if I said that I knew I was there.
So
I hear a man saying, I don't know that I can trust myself to do this, that I might just run into someone who mentions my son's name and I'll burst into tears on the campaign trail. I don't know. The one thing that struck me as being completely true about what he says is anyone you've ever covered who runs for president is 110% in it, believes themselves to be more possible, it's more possible for them than anybody else you've ever seen. He didn't have 50% of that, at least not yet. And I don't know how he gets it between now and when he needs to be serious.
It's odd that well, it strikes me as a little bit odd that he continually talks about his struggle to get there and the reasons behind his struggle. It's well established, it's done. I have a feeling he should stop talking like that if there's any possibility that he's going to get in this thing, because Americans...
I think it's working for him, and I think it's working for. I don't think it's calculated, but I think it's been a huge part of the groundswell around that's happened, and with the vice president's inner circle, the amount of incoming from donors, from elected officials, from voters who are trying to get him to come in has ramped up exponentially over the course of the last 6 weeks. Every time he talks about stuff like this, it makes him seem like a more sympathetic character. I'll say...
Oh, I understand that, but when you keep saying, I just can't get to, or I'm not sure I can get to 110%, and then 2 weeks later you announce you're at 110%, does it startle people?
Well, we talk about fire in the belly, and we talk about whether a candidate has low energy. It is a hard transition, right, from this to that. And the good thing for Vice President Biden's point of view is his support and the calls, run Joe run, allow him to make a decision on his own terms. Yes. You know, for a long time, he was just kind of forgotten. Wait, he was the vice president? No, I thought Hillary Clinton was the vice president. She was the heir apparent. Now, at least, if he decides to, and he was left aside, Uncle Joe, and he hated that. He wanted respect, didn't always feel like he got it. So if he decides to run or not run, it at least is on his own terms, because he can say, the party wanted me to run, even if I didn't.
I have I've been doing a ton of reporting on this week, and I have a story coming out tomorrow morning on BloombergPolitics.com that I believe will advance the conversation on this narrative considerably. But I will say this for now. I have said for 6 months that I did not necessarily, that I really thought, that I believed he would not run. I now think it's more likely than not that he will run. I think that he will get in later than people assume. And I think that he has more or less, the human aspects are still true. He still needs to get over that last hump in his heart and get there with his family. But I think on every other metric, I think he's basically decided.
Save that tape. Save that tape and run it next time John is back.
And do you know anything about the state of play with regard to, we have to get endorsements, we have to get money, we have to get registered in each state, all of that stuff, the infrastructure.
The first filing deadlines that are in the middle of November, and they're very acutely aware of when those deadlines are.
And a final quick point, they obviously also know what Gwen talked about, which is all this wonderful glowing stuff now will drop away once he starts to run. Does he have the energy for that?
Well, I think that's still the question. I think, again, I don't want to say, I think he is being honest when he says he's not, in his heart, he's not 100% there. But I think they believe what Peggy said, which is that when he gets in, if the things keep going in the way that they're going right now, when he gets in, he will get a huge boost in a positive direction. That will eventually fade, but the boost will be, he'll get a big bump on the positive side going in when he first gets in. And of course,
Hillary Clinton will just sit back and let it happen and won't push back at all, I'm sure.
Oh my goodness. Right. Oh, that's going to be something to watch.
Unfortunately, we will all be here to watch it, but for now, we're going to have to stop for a moment, and we'll be right back with more from our panel.